Welcome back to the Anti-Madden online game commentary. We're facing off for the first time online. Well, actually, the second time, but my first real game. The first game I had was a few weeks ago, but I got into the game, and for some reason, my custom playbook didn't come up. I tried to ask the guy for a friendly quit at the beginning, but he wasn't having it, and I had to back out with a loss. I always hate taking losses like that because of technical reasons, but this is the first real game for me online this year. I usually spend about 2 months in the lab getting my playbooks right because I'm not one of these people who likes to start playing online and not know what the hell I'm doing. So I gotta have my scheme in place before I play anybody, and I've got most of it put together right now, and it's missing a few things, but I'm getting the itch to start playing people, and I need to get some game film. So let's get right into the game. I'm playing Texas Elite 2, and he decides to run it on second down and get shut down. Tackle for a loss. He then tries to run a play action pass, but my double edge blitz puts too much pressure in his face, and he overthrows the pass. He then decides to go for it on fourth down, but comes away empty. I've got the ball on the 26-yard line with great field position. I drop back, but I don't see anybody open, so I take off running and get 19 yards on the QB scramble. We then punch the ball in with Latavius Murray for the touchdown to put the first points on the board. On the next play, he hits me with a play-action post corner to Greg Olsen for 21 yards. We then force him into a 4th and 1, and he decides to go for it, but ends up getting stopped in the backfield for no gain. Second quarter, we see the cover 2 coverage and hit Rod Streeter deep middle for 27 yards. 2 plays later, I try to hit Amari Cooper over the middle, but end up almost throwing the pick. Here's a Madden tip. This is what happens when you go into games you haven't practiced plays on. You see that the running back was wide open underneath the middle linebacker, and I threw it anyway. Don't do it. It will only end up in a turnover. We end up punting the ball, and my opponent ends up hitting me with a PA post shot for a deep 43-yard catch over the middle, making my DBs look silly. He then hits me 3 plays later with a deep street catch for the touchdown to end up tying the game. My very next possession, I end up throwing a pick. Another Madden tip: if there's a specific play that you keep throwing a pick on, it's time to change your reads or get rid of that play. This play was giving me problems before already, and it ends up costing me in an actual game. That's not what you want to have. You got to get rid of those plays that don't work out of your playbook. 3 minutes to go in the half, and we bring the heat to get the sack on first down. We get the stops, and we force him to kick a field goal, which he ends up missing. So it ends up working out for us. 1 minute and 23 to go in the half, and I just want to get into good field position, but I see on my pre-snap read that he looks like he wants to bring the heat. So I audible out of my first play and dial up one of my blitz beaters. You want to make sure that you have a call that can beat the blitz. If you see your opponent is showing it pre-snap, we end up making the right read, and it ends up being a 44-yard touchdown before the half. The very next possession, we end up jumping the flat route to Greg Olsen. My opponent never even saw it. He was looking at Greg Olsen, who had a step on his defender, but didn't see the corner lurking in the flat zone. You got to make sure those flats are open before you just start throwing quick passes. 57 seconds to go in the second quarter. I make my pre-snap read, and I see that my opponent looks like he might be in a cover 6. If you want a cover 6 beater, I've got it for you. The KC crosses out of the Eagle H type formation is a cover 6 killer. You see, I almost hit the deep post route, but Derek Carr just overthrows him a little. I've got to settle for the field goal to go up 17-7 at halftime, but it's going to be my ball. My opponent again shows me an aggressive man blitz, and I hit Amari Cooper with the post route for 17 yards. He comes right back with the same blitz, and I hit him with the same blitz beater for another huge TD for 43 yards. We take the lead 24-7, and it's not looking good for him. He runs a play action and hits his man on a crazy catch in traffic for 16 yards. 2 possessions later, he tries to hit the fade route deep left, but I end up getting the interception and dashing his hopes at a comeback. He stops me 2 plays later and he gets the coverage sack. I try and convert on 3rd and long to put this game away. I'm looking for the Z receiver on the deep post, but Derek Carr ends up overthrowing it again. My opponent goes to the ground game, but it's too late in the game for that. The running back gets a nice gain to the outside for 15 yards. My opponent then looks to his wide receiver on the left and hits me in the left flat for 17 yards. We then force him into a 3rd and 5 situation. I think he's going to Olsen, so I decide to jump that route, and there's nobody open. He ends up having to throw it away. On this play, I call the cover 1 robber out of the nickel 3-3-5, and I take away that first read, and he ends up just having to get rid of the ball. 4th down, and I try to bring the double-edged heat, but he ends up converting to keep the chains moving. On the very next possession, we end up stuffing the run. I've covered this in my run defense video. You need to have a linebacker, DB, or strong safety shooting the gap on your run defense. And right here, the middle linebacker just blows up the A-gap to get the tackle for the loss. The very next play, he tries to hit Olsen again on the post corner route, but we jump that and end up getting a sack. Right here, I've got my jump route play, and right at the snap, I go straight to Olsen looking to jump that corner route, but the QB freezes, and by then it's too late. Khalil Mack comes in off the edge for the nasty sack. My opponent, desperate to get some points on the board, goes to the Hail Mary streak deep right, but just can't catch it in bounds. He then decides to try the other side, trying to go deep left, but it's broken up in the end zone for a turnover on downs. And right then and there, he decides I've had enough. He doesn't want to get beat down anymore and ends up leaving the game. That's going to do it for this edition of the Anti-Madden online game commentary. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Madden tips and content. Until next time, the Anti-Madden is out. Peace.